Welcome back to Jesse López Vlog. I'm Jesse López, and in today's episode, we're talking about the arrival resources for U.S. Army Garrison Bavaria newcomers. In the last episode, we talked about the pre-arrival portion of it, and today we're picking it up with now that you're here, you've arrived, joining the Bavaria military community and in processing. But before we do that, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, hit the notification bell, and share with a friend so you don't miss out on future episodes. We'll start it off, and to recap, U.S. Army Garrison Bavaria homepage. Again, home.army.mil/Bavaria/, which is the best resource, the one-stop shop for everything that you want to know about the garrison. We're going to open it up, and there in the middle of the ribbon or tabs, you'll see the portion that says Arrivals, titled Joining the Bavaria Military Community and in Processing. Again, just like the last one, it opens up a ton of links and resources that are numbered. In this case, it's 1 through 9. And I'm not going to go too much into detail for each one, but I do want to let you know that if you've ever wondered what the process is, all the agencies that are going to talk to you, that's the main place where you would find those answers. Now, this homepage, I believe, is still being worked on. A lot of this information is from back in the day when COVID was really hot. And ever since then, they still haven't updated it. So a lot of this information may not pertain completely to you, but it still provides a ton of great information that will help you once you've arrived to the garrison. Now, if I click on the first one, the virtual in processing, that was all made during COVID, obviously, for security measures. And if you open it up, what it did was provided a one-stop shop for the phase 1 of the in processing at U.S. Army Garrison Bavaria. It had a drop-down list to view the in processing briefs and the facility contact information as it related to the garrison. Anyone can view these briefs. You don't need a CAT card. And then once you completed the non-resident portion of the in processing, then your phase 2 would start by calling the in processing office to register for the in-person program, which I guess back then lasted approximately 4 to 5 days. We'll be talking about the new way of doing it, which lasts about, it's a 2-week phase to in-process you successfully to the garrison. Now, just to quickly go over the in-processing briefs, it has a USAG Bavaria overview. It has information for the AFIS exchange, the Army Community Service, ACS, and Family Advocacy. It has the Army Community Service, ACS, Host Nation Orientation. It has RSOF, ASACS, the ASAP office, Chaplain, CID, Community Bank, CYS Services, Education Center, Army Continuing Education Services, EFMP, Equal Opportunity, the IG Office, Legal Assistance, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, the Military Family Life Counselor, Military Police Directorate of Emergency Services, the NCOA Instructor, the Red Cross, Retention, Safety, Service Credit Union, SHARP, USO, and the Warrant Officer Recruiting. Again, it has not only an overview, but in detail for each in processing. From what I saw, it provides websites, contact information. It had the PowerPoints of all the briefings. As it pertains to this episode, it still provides valuable information that you may want to look at for more information and valuable resources on what all of these agencies have to offer. Okay, so going back, that is the number one for the in-processing. It has also a guide for you, and then it has a spouse in-processing checklist as number 3 under the number 1 item. The second item provides directions, GPS coordinates. It has number 2 listed as the Nuremberg International Airport, if you're coming from there to arrive to the garrison. It has the Munich International Airport as number 3, and number 4, the Frankfurt International Airport. Number 3 provides a local transportation. It talks about, for number 1, AFI's fuel rations program. The on-post taxis is number 2. Number 3, on-post shuttle bus schedule. Number 4, the Deutsche Bahn Railway, which is the German railway here. And number 5, student transportation. The line item number 4 talks about private vehicles. Number 1 there, where's my POV information. Number 2, vehicle inspection. Number 3, vehicle registration. Number 4, a vehicle processing flowchart for you. The 5th item on there is driving in Europe. First one on there talks about driving in Europe. Number 2, obtaining your user driver's license, U.S. Army in Europe driver's license. Number 3, the U.S. Army in Europe driver's handbook, which includes Europe road signs. Number 4, obtain your international driver's permit. Number 5, winter tire regulations. Number 6, motorcycle licensing requirements, in parentheses, motorcycle safety drop-down menu of the USAG Bavaria safety web page. Number 6 line item, installation access. Number 1 on there is installation access control, IX. Number 2 would be the visitors bringing guests on post information. Line item 7, medical, dental, and eye care. Number 1 talks about on-post health clinics, which includes Graf Army Health Clinic, the Vilseck Army Health Clinic, Hohenfels Army Health Clinic as well. Number 2 there is the medical department activity in Bavaria. Number 3, the Bavaria Dental Clinic. And number 4, a 24-hour pharmacies off-post information. Line number 8 talks about schools and education services. Number 1, the Education Center. Number 2, the Child and Youth Services, in parentheses, CYS. Number 3, for parents of military children. Number 4, DODIA school immunization requirements. Number 5, school liaison office, SLO. Graf Netzeberg Vilseck, SLO in Hohenfels, and the SLO for Garmisch. Number 6, school and kids calendar. Number 7, list of area schools, K through 12. Last but not least, line item number 9 talks about community resource guide, and the first one on there, and the only one on there, USAG Bavaria Community Resource Guide, CRG. Okay, so even though these were used during COVID and they're outdated, highly recommend, if you want to learn a little bit more about these resources and each of the agencies, highly recommend you take a look at them on your downtime and learn a little bit more about the agencies. Now, a lot of these are going to be talking to you in today's present time. When you're in process, they'll be talking to you in person when they brief you face to face. And we'll be going over those here shortly. Let me just grab some water. My throat gets very dry when I talk a lot. The best way to in-process that I've seen is if you're a commercial arrival and somebody picked you up, your sponsor usually, and they brought you on base to especially Grafenwöhr at Tower Barracks, building 244, in the basement, if you're able to, if it's open. If not, just report to the second floor there. It's called the Military Personnel Division under the Directorate of Military Programs. You're going to need a couple of items to turn in. we're going to be asking you, and we'll be making a copy for you of your orders, your absence requests, which is your leave form, and your flight information, and if you ship the vehicle as well. If those items apply to you, you'll be providing them to us, and we will make a quick copy. We will schedule you for when you should be doing your day one in processing. Currently, they take place every Wednesday and Friday morning, but allow us to schedule you. We're creating a packet for you, and based on the number of people that are scheduled, we would let you know what day would be your appointment. Now, those of you that are arriving, let's say you get picked up out of Ramstein and you take a bus, it'll take you here to Grafenwöhr, and it'll also, eventually you're going to link up with one of our borrowed military manpower. They're also going to collect those items from you. So copy of your orders, your absence requests, which is your leave form, and your flight information if you ship the vehicle as well. We will be asking for your sponsor's phone number, your phone number as well. If your orders are not clear, we'll be asking you if you have any dependents that are on your orders, a good phone number, contact information for yourself if you have it as well, and then if you have any pets. Once we collect the information, we usually schedule you for either that Wednesday or Friday. And then once you do, we'll let you know that it starts at 9 o'clock sharp. So we prefer if you can get there at least 15 minutes early to get a good seat. And that'll be your day one. Takes place on the third floor of the building at building 244. And then somebody from the in and out processing branch for the MPD is going to give you the first briefing. There's going to be several briefings that day, and we should have you guys out of there by 11:30. Please come in uniform, and then once we release you, you either go back and in process to your unit, or you go back to lunch, depending on what your unit lets you know you're supposed to do, or you in process at the unit first. But let's go into detail, kind of what's going to happen at the day one. And again, we're creating a packet full of resources. We're creating copies of everything that you provided. If you didn't provide everything, we try our best to go into the system, the new IPS-A system. And if you didn't have the orders, we're going to try to look that up for you. If it's in the system, we're going to make a copy of that for you. If you didn't provide an absence request, a leave form, we're also going to print that off for you as well. Okay, we're going to make an additional 4 copies of everything for you because you're going to be needing that for all the briefers. Basically, what's happening is when you attend, you get to go through a whole bunch of mandatory briefings, some mandatory classes that you got to knock out so you in process successfully to the garrison. There's going to be also a packet, basically a checklist of all the agencies that you are required to in process by obtaining signatures from all those agencies. And we're going to go into detail here shortly in a moment. The packet that we're creating for you has several sheets, and I'm just looking at my notes really quick. One of those sheets is what's called a statement of understanding, which is basically an agreement between you and the Army. It's basically the terms and conditions, a working relationship, an agreement between parties, which is yourself and the U.S. Army. So under the Army Regulation 612-1, Community In and Out Processing, all in-processing soldiers in the rank of Private E1 through Colonel 06 must attend all mandatory in-processing training center, otherwise known as ITC, and community briefings, okay, in accordance with Appendix B-21. Okay, there are exceptions, and I'm going to talk about them real quick. except for soldiers on consecutive overseas tours, COTS, within Europe, and inter-theater transfers, ITTs, in the same country. You would need to provide a memorandum for record, an MFR, and the completion of your 350-1 training requirements. Now, it's something that you should have completed within just a couple of months. It can't be like you completed it 3 years ago and then you're going to try to use it again. That would be no good. Number 2 here talks about Colonels 06 assigned to USAR, U.S. Army in Europe, may be excused from the 2-week in-processing only if the U.S. and Army Europe DCG approves. Colonels 06 assigned to IMCOM Europe may be excused from the 2-week in-processing only if the IMCOM Europe Deputy Regional Director approves. Command Sergeant Majors, CSMs, and Sergeant Major assigned to U.S. Army Europe may be excused from the 2-week in-processing only if the U.S. Army in Europe Command Sergeant Major approves. CSMs and Sergeant Major assigned to IMCOM Europe may be excused from the 2-week in-processing only if the IMCOM Europe CSM approves. Number 3 talks about by accepting the in-processing checklist and signing this statement, you agree and fully understand that your place of duty for the period indicated below is at the in-processing training center at the location indicated on the in-processing checklist. Number 4, accountability will be conducted daily, and soldiers not attending the mandatory briefing will be reported to their chain of command as a no-show. Number 5, last one here, upon completion of all ITC in-processing requirements, you will understand that you must return the in-processing checklist back to the central processing facility. That's basically the MPD. The in and out processing branch, by the ITC end date, which we'll talk about here shortly, indicated on your in-processing checklist. At the very bottom, basically, it's requiring you to fill out the portion for your sponsor's name. If you have a sponsor, your sponsor's phone number, your unit, your company commander, your name, and your phone number. You're going to sign below, just saying that you understand that you got to attend all mandatory ITC and community briefings. Authorities outlined in paragraph 2 listed above can excuse you from attending the 2-week in-processing process, ones that we talked about, if it pertained to you. And all in-processing must be completed in duty uniform, obviously. You'll sign and date at the bottom. So that's one of the sheets that you'll be turning in back to us once you're done obtaining all the signatures on an in-processing checklist. The second one is called the sponsorship survey. You're going to fill it out, whether you have a sponsor or not. Basically, we want to know how was your in-processing, your sponsorship experience, so we can help out the future generation of people that are in-processing. Okay, so very important for you to fill out. That's another sheet that you'll be turning back into us. The next one is called the in-processing personnel record, otherwise known as a DA form 5123-1. And basically, this is the one where you're going to go face-to-face in uniform. You're going to be going to locations. All the agencies, majority should be at the location where you work. So those of you that work at Tower Barracks, Grafenwöhr, will be in processing and obtaining signatures at most of the places at Tower Barracks. Those of you that are stationed in Vilseck, Rose Barracks, are going to be getting a checklist with the majority of those places located at Rose Barracks. So we try to make it as simple as we can for you. Just some notes here. And again, you'll be seeing all this when you're in process, okay? I'm just roughly making a quick notes and talking about it. At the very top is going to be what's called the Central Issue Facility, the CIF, your appointment. It's highlighted in neon orange. Basically, for those of you that are new, that's when you're going to be receiving TA50, your table of allowances, a ton of military gear. And it's very important that you don't miss that appointment. Because one, it's going to be very hard to get another appointment in the near future because they're very short-staffed, that agency there, and they don't have that many workers working there at the moment. And to get another appointment, it might be anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks to get the nearest appointment. So very important, when you go down there, take an NCO with you, so a non-commissioned officer, E5 or above. You can take an officer as well if you want. Take transportation, someone that has transportation, because again, you'll be receiving a ton of military gear, and it's just going to be really heavy. The NCO or the officer, they can help you out to make sure that you received all the right gear, and also to help you to transport that back to wherever you may live, whether the barracks or back in housing. Okay, so again, you don't want to miss that appointment. Another one that's going to be very important is one that is in neon highlight in blue. Those of you that are entitled to housing. Housing is located on the first floor of building 244 at the Garrison. And it's on the first floor. You can't miss it. Appointments are made. It's on a walk-in basis. You just got to go there during normal business hours. On the left side of this sheet are all the agencies that we created when we created the packet for you that you need to get signatures. Signatures you'll be receiving on the right side. Some of them didn't apply to you. Then we went ahead, and this is based off your orders. We kind of based that off. Whatever it said on your orders, that's what we based it off. We cleared it if a lot of these agencies didn't pertain to you. So for instance, if you're single, we wouldn't assign EFMP or mandatory spouse in processing at the Army Community Service Agency. We would clear that, and you'll see a name on the right side. Basically, it's typed in there for you, and a big accent here in the middle. Just as an FYI for you, you don't need to go there. Okay, it is an odd page sheet, so it's going to be page 1 and page 3. There is no page 2. There's one that's called the Central MPD Processing Facility and Processing. It's highlighted neon yellow. That's basically the deadline when you got to turn this in. It doesn't take that many days, 3 or 4 days at the most, depending if you have a vehicle or not. Of course, also if your sponsor is able to assist you and give you a ride to a lot of these places. If not, there's a bus and a bus schedule on the Garrison website. But again, it's really not that tough to in-process at these places. Once you receive all the signatures, you would turn that in on the date that is listed in neon yellow. It's usually 1 or 2 days after your appointment with CIF. So just keep in mind your CIF appointment to receive your military gear is far out in the future. So you should be obtaining all of the signatures prior to that CIF appointment. That should be the very last appointment that you got to get. And then you're basically already almost there. Once you get that one, you just come back to the MPD located on the 2nd floor, and you turn that in to us along with the sponsorship survey and with the statement of understanding. Of course, at the day 1 briefing, the representative from the in and out processing branch is going to give you more details. This huge briefing that's going to explain everything to you. It's going to make sense once you go through that briefing. There's also a schedule that's attached to the packet that we made. ITC's schedule is very easy to understand. It's basically your itinerary of where you should be and when you should be. So for instance, it'll have the date on the left side. It'll tell you the hours, all the people that will be briefing you that day, the time that they'll excuse you for lunch, the location of where the classes take place as well. Get some water. Okay. Finance is also going to see you on the schedule. It'll let you know when finance will be briefing you. Very important. If you were missing some items that you forgot to turn in to us, for the orders, the absence requests, or the flight, very important to have that ready to go by day 2, which is usually 1 day after the day one. So if you were scheduled for day one on Wednesday, finance would be Thursday. If you were scheduled for Friday for day one, finance would normally be the next business day, which would be that following Monday. Again, those items that we're missing, not only does finance need them, but you also got to make sure that you get that back to the military personnel division, in and out processing branch. Again, going down the line, they're going to talk to you about your priority dates, which are at this moment, Mondays and Fridays to go obtain your driver's licensing. But all these places, you're not going to be able to do much until you have the packet, the in-processing checklist. Without that, many of these places, unfortunately, may turn you away without it. There's also some classes, they call them the ITC In-Processing Training Center, ITC Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday classes. These are mandatory classes for everybody. They run from the mornings all the way to the afternoon. And the next ones, for instance, take place on the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th of February, and so on. It's every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, unless there's a holiday. Then the schedules kind of change a little bit. Yours pertain to each person. It's catered to depending on when you started your day one. There's a AER financial literacy touchpoint class that's only mandatory for the ranks and grades of E1 through E4, W01 to W02, and O1 to O3. If you don't fall within those grades or ranks, you wouldn't need to attend those classes, but there are some more classes after lunch in the afternoon. Those will be mandatory for you to attend. All right. Again, ITC Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, just mandatory classes. The packet also includes agencies for in-processing, whether you're stationed in Rose Barracks, Vilseck, or Tower Barracks, Grafenwöhr. It has all the work centers, has phone numbers there for you, locations, building room numbers, the hours of operation, and any remarks on any like special notes if they might be closed on certain days or limited hours on certain days. Okay. There's also a sheet for AFN, the Eagle, which is the American Forces Network Radio here in Germany. Has the station numbers if you want to dial that into in your car, just to get updates on upcoming events in your community. They respond to questions of the days, and you can hear the response live on the radio, and you can interact with other USA Army Garrison Bavaria community members. They'll be talking about the Facebook page and all the social media sites, the platforms which are available to follow AFM Bavaria and to follow as resources for you to in-process successfully to the garrison. All right. That's basically it. I kind of went fast, but so much more detail when you go through all these briefings and orientations. I know that a lot of you are going to be tired and probably jet lagged and hungry. Hopefully your sponsor is taking care of you. If not, that's the main reason for creating these podcasts, video podcasts, or you can listen to it on Spotify, here on YouTube. You can watch the video as well. And Spotify also has it's available to watch in a video format as well. But this is basically the future now. Another way of communicating that information to the masses. And I took this upon myself to help as many people as I can. And now it's up to you to share that knowledge as well with other people. Because if you keep it to yourself, then only you will know about it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast, this video on YouTube, or the podcast on Spotify, to reach as many people so they're not alone or lost. If I'm being frank, a lot of people that should be helping you are not helping you, and this is where I come in. Of course, I'm not the subject matter expert on everything. I just happen to be currently be employed at the garrison. under the Directorate of Military Programs at the Military Personnel Division, and I know a little bit about how to in-process and how to out-process people. But this is one way of helping people help each other. And I hope that you can do that and share that knowledge with people. I won't be answering any direct questions. I've now empowered you with the pre-arrival resources for U.S. Army Garrison Bavaria newcomers video and podcast, and now the arrival resources. I am available during work hours. If you want to call me at the in and out processing branch for MPD, I'll be more than happy to help you. But under my channel, it is neither my place to assist you because I've already empowered you to do so. So I hope that you understand that. But other than that, I think this was a great episode. It's a good start in the right direction. I believe that more and more people are going to be learning and sharing resources to help, our soldiers, because you are the future generation. You're here to defend our great nation, and I, as a disabled combat veteran, now continuing the mission as a civilian, I am just so grateful and thank you for everything that you do. Let's end on a high note, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that took the time to listen to this podcast. Thank you so much. Share with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one.